inside every museum is a hidden world. Now cameras are going behind the scenes to parts of the Victoria and Albert Museum never seen before.
Fabergé egg, it's as though it's descended from heaven.
Home to more than 2 million wonders of art, design and performance.
A bouquet of flowers from Mr. Tommy Cooper himself.
Just like that.
This year, the V&A is being transformed. With new museums on the way and more of its treasures travelling to every part of the UK.
It's a very important play, etched in Scottish consciousness.
Oh my goodness, the colours. It's so vibrant.
Behind closed doors, the experts are hard at work, uncovering untold stories.
The toxicity can live up to 1,300 years, so these are still poisonous.
Restoring rare wonders.
Have you ever seen an object with so much Sharpie?
And bringing precious masterpieces to light.
Once this layer of dirt is removed, I'll be able to see its true image again.
To preserve the way we lived then.
Isn't he cute?
He's very cute. He has a little cheeky smile.
And the way we live now. For everyone.
Every day I'm finding new things that I had no idea that we had, and that's just the real highlight of the job.
The V&A is famous for its works of high art. But also nestled among its collections are objects from a very different tradition.
Since the V&A was founded, there's been a real focus on design and manufacture. Anything from huge-scale industrial design down to a single potter working in their studio.
So we're looking for some pictures by Maurice Broomfield. This is one of his beautiful big vintage prints.
Curator Martin is preparing for a new exhibition celebrating the photography of Maurice Broomfield, who captured the might of British industry in its heyday.
Maurice Broomfield was the greatest photographer of industry in Britain. His pictures are works of fine art.
Broomfield's bold images bear witness to the optimism and innovation in post-war manufacturing.
The photographs are just so beautiful to look at. They just have a tremendous dramatic impact. He was the person that you went to if you owned a factory and you wanted to make it look absolutely spectacular.
In 2010, just before his death, Maurice donated his life's work to the V&A.
It would be about 30,000 pictures, which is, 20 years of solid work, working pretty much every day. It's a really unique, rare survival of a working photographer's practice in their archive.
There's one image that Martin wants to use as the centerpiece of the exhibition.
Testing fluorescent tubes shows the scientists testing different kinds of new lighting technologies. It's graphically bold and very simple. There's just something spectacular about the way the light seems to hover in space, like a still from a science fiction movie. The tube that's floating like a kind of halo that he might suddenly pop on the top of his head. It speaks about human ingenuity and how you can kind of bring light into darkness, which is unusual for what is, to all intents and purposes, a photograph of a factory setting.
But this print, made by Broomfield himself, is now 60 years old.
I keep seeing pinholes at the edges where it's been pinned to a wall somewhere. The print probably was shown in an exhibition to celebrate that factory's work. There's some scratches. The silver in the paper is tarnished over time. It's an object which had a life. It's not just an image. The photograph is an object, and it has all of its kind of battle scars and its stamps and its pinholes and its repairs. It starts to look a bit like Weetabix, and the paper is beginning to split. And I think that's probably where it's been propped up against the wall and might have been a bit damp, so that's why it's starting to go a bit wavy and pull away from the board.
There's work to be done if the print is going to be ready for its close-up in the forthcoming exhibition.
It's got to look really beautiful on the wall. It's got to stand up to Morris's own standards of how beautiful he wanted his pictures to look.
The V&A doesn't just collect objects celebrating Western design and industry.
The V&A has one of the most important collections of artifacts from South and Southeast Asia. Everything from sculpture, jewellery, beautiful paintings, to an amazing collection of textiles. And it's my role to bring in new narratives. I'm very keen that the gallery be brought up to date so that we have more object displays.
Today, Divya is meeting curator Avalon to inspect a rare fabric produced by one of the oldest cottage industries in Bangladesh.
What we have here is a Jamdani stole. It's a kind of patterned muslin from Dhaka, Bangladesh. A stole is really just a narrow scarf, something that would form the perfect accessory to a beautiful gown.
The ancient Bengali city of Dhaka was home of the Jamdani, a fabric that takes its name from an intricate process of weaving decorative designs on a loom.
Dhaka muslin had a reputation as being some of the finest, most transparent, sheerest fabrics ever woven by human hands. They were hugely popular luxury trade goods back into ancient times to the Romans and the Greeks. They earned beautiful names in Persian, calling them running water and woven air.
You can see the sheerness in these miniature paintings. I mean, here she looks almost nude, doesn't she?
Yeah, I love this piece because it reminds me of a specific legend of a princess wearing 7 layers of Dhaka muslin, but appears to be walking naked around the palace and is told off by her father. And this seems like just a beautiful illustration of that legend.
Acquired in 1852 as one of the founding objects of the museum, this Dhaka muslin has never left the sanctuary of the stores.
Why this particular piece has never been put on display before is a mystery. It is gorgeous and it deserves its time in the sun.
But this delicate textile isn't yet ready for the public gaze.
At the moment, the Jamdani stole looks every year of its 171 years of age.
But if there's anyone who can tackle a fabric supposedly made of woven air, it's the conservators of the textile workshop.
I know you're going to say it's filthy, and you're right.
The job of cleaning it falls to Elizabeth Ann.
We have a stain there, more staining, just general griminess.
It's obviously got wet at some point because we've got these big tide lines here.
We have a couple of things that we need to preserve, the historic labels. We know that this particular piece has never been washed because it still has on it its original stickers from when it was first purchased by the V&A. I don't think they need to stay on the textile, but we have to hold on to them as part of the history of the object.
What's W86?
So it means woven 86. So that's the original sticker that was put on it when it was purchased, which means this was the 86th textile that the museum purchased from the Great Exhibition in 1851.
Held in Hyde Park, London, the Great Exhibition of 1851 celebrated art and industrial prowess from around the world.
It has a lot of importance, especially for the V&A, because out of the Great Exhibition came the core collection of things that were initially purchased to build this museum. The Indian Pavilion was absolutely one of the highlights. They had rave reviews just for the richness and the quality of the pieces on display. And that includes this Jamdani stole. I doubt that whoever wove this imagined that it was going to last for the next 171 years.
I know.
I leave it in your capable hands.
The V&A holds around 100,000 fashion and textile items in its collections, from pioneering designers and manufacturers. But curator Jenny is always in search of new acquisitions that will explain how they made their breakthroughs.
Every so often there's something that comes up that is completely compelling and has an amazing story that we haven't been able to tell before.
Hello. Hello, Jenny.
Hello, lovely to meet you. Thank you so much for inviting me.
You're very welcome.
It's amazing.
Danuta Lawton from Cambridgeshire is a collector of rare and unusual fashion.
I'm so pleased you could come.
Just great to see them in the flesh.
Central to her collection are pieces from one of the best-loved British brands of the 60s and 70s, Biba.
If I could squeeze into any of these, I'd be wearing them now. They're fabulous.
And the print is really gorgeous as well.
I think it was initially a mini dress, but then I started to wear it as a blouse.
It looks very typical Biba. This is amazing, this sort of multicolour.
Yes, glitter, you know, this isn't couture.
And the price was reasonable.
It was on the expensive side for me. I do without other things to have one nice piece from Biba.
Biba started life as a mail-order business, but soon became a shop that was to prove legendary. The label captured the new mood of the 60s and changed the face of British fashion.
The look was really sophisticated and it was glamorous, really. You can see film-style glamour like Greta Garbo, and there's a very precise kind of definition to the designs.
At the heart of every creation was the vision of its founder, Barbara Hulanicki.
She brings an exacting standard and a thoroughly professional approach.
Barbara Hulanicki's style was so unique and it was so personal to her. And she really kind of created a dream and invited everyone to join her.
But even more significant than the outfits is a rare survival.
I know you've been looking forward to seeing this. It's rather more shabby than my clothes. It's unique. This is a production file for the Biba garments.
That's fascinating.
This production file contains around 120 orders for garments that would have been sent directly from Barbara and her team to the factory in Paddington, London.
Letterheads, instructions, size rolls.
It sort of opens out all of that work that went into each garment.
The fabrics that it was made in, the colour range, and then the size range, and the manufacturers, all of whom were British.
Unlike many labels, Biba only made clothes in small runs.
It's not big numbers we're talking about.
It's not big numbers.
No, and I think maybe the secret of the Biba brand was this very small-scale manufacture, wasn't it?
You weren't going to be bumping into lots of people wearing the garment that you'd bought.
It's a kind of dynamic document because you could see the things that really took off and were really successful and others that weren't repeated. It's a snapshot of about a year in the production cycle. It just sort of opens up a whole window into that manufacturing process and tells something new.
Danuta's husband ran his own successful fashion business, and it was his quick thinking that stopped this unique piece of history being lost forever.
This was saved from a skip. He had a little boutique and he would buy from various manufacturers. And when these people were getting rid of all the pattern books, no longer required, Peter said, no, no, please, may I have it? Yep, no good to us. And he took it, he brought it home. So I would think that this is the only one of its kind in the world. You know, the rest will have been destroyed.
It's so important because it represents such an exciting time in fashion in the 1970s, and I think the file really helped to tell that story. I imagine you must have been at school when Biber first started.
My friend and I guess we would have been about 16 at the time, aspiring to be very sophisticated, and we went to London on the train. We wanted to go and see this shop.
Dimly lit for dramatic effect, and eventually selling not just clothes, but makeup and homewares as well, Biber's flagship London store offered a whole way of life.
Barbara Hulaniki's vision set the standard for that kind of new, exciting experience of going shopping. It was palm trees, it was glamour, it was like walking into a film set. But sadly, I didn't ever go there. So it's just fantastic you're prepared to donate this to the museum.
It's our pleasure. I would love it to go to somewhere that will look after these things. I think it's important that they are kept, so I'm thrilled, absolutely thrilled.
It's not often that you get this extra dimension. It's one of the most exciting things I've ever seen, actually. To be able to get Barbara to come and have a look at the file would be lovely. I think I've just got lots of ideas about the potential it's going to have.
In photography conservation, Steph is starting restoration on the star print in the upcoming Maurice Broomfield exhibition.
Yeah, it's pretty grubby. Using a makeup sponge, you can just very carefully dab over the surface of the emulsion, and it takes away quite a lot of surface dirt.
I've got to be quite careful because I don't want to damage the sort of already loose bits on the edges at all. The board's so badly damaged. I've just put some paste in between the layers of the board. Yeah, it's very delicate work. It's quite fiddly. You kind of want good eyesight to be doing it. It also takes quite a bit of patience. It's difficult to do a lot of repair to it.
The print will only be able to take its starring role if it's stable enough to go on display.
It can be nerve-wracking working on objects that are getting ready for an exhibition.
Sometimes things don't behave as you want them to.
While Steph is hoping for a photo finish, curator Martin has come to Sussex to visit Maurice's son, BAFTA-winning documentary maker Nick Broomfield.
Hi, Nick. Good to see you. Nice to see you. Having spent time with Maurice, I became friends with him. It went beyond Maurice just being a donor to the museum of a body of work. I felt a personal responsibility to Maurice's legacy. And so over time, Maurice's family became a large part of my life. And I got to know Nick through Maurice.
And so this is what Maurice really loved so much. This is the mill.
Maurice's passion for machines and mechanical marvels was given free rein when he moved to the old watermill in the 1970s. He spent years restoring it to full working order.
See, this is the mill wheel here. You see now it's moving? The gears on here are actual apple wood. He was fascinated by all that machinery. It's pretty amazing, huh? So if you look over here, you can see the wheel going round from there.
You can really see why Maurice loved this place, can't you? Because it's so connected with the romance of industry.
Industry, yeah.
Cogs and wheels and pulleys, it's all there in the pictures.
In its time, this was the highest form of industrial engineering. Yeah, he loved it, certainly did.
Maurice was a tremendous romantic, and I can't help thinking about connections between machinery that he enjoyed and some of the pictures that he made, and the kind of visual connections that you can see in the place that he lived.
Morris actually kept all his equipment in here.
The tools of Morris's trade are still at the mill.
So this is one of his old 5.4s.
Yeah, that's one of the big older ones, isn't it? That's antique. They all do a different job, don't they?
Yeah.
I guess. In some ways, the cameras are like the brushes and the palettes of a painter.
And so this is a whole lot of the cameras that he used.
Nick is lending the cameras to the V&A for the exhibition.
The first one was this one. This was his box brownie, which he gave me, which I think had been his. Then he went to the Rolleiflex. That's a beautiful camera.
Did you come to filmmaking through photography?
I did, yeah, because my first film was really like sequence of still photographs, really. But, you know, more with a story. It was actually about slum clearance. And then I just got more into doing films, you know. So he was a, you know, massive influence.
You went with him to the factories?
Yeah, I went to several factories with him. He loved the factories because it was like a stage for him. And he would go around, work out very carefully the pictures he wanted to do. And then he'd even move somebody to work on the machine and then spend ages lighting them to get them absolutely perfect. You can imagine, he was like obsessed. You know, this poor worker has been like this for hours on end, or aching, you know, and he'd go, okay, picture done. And everyone, what? After all that, that's it?
Yeah.
You know.
But basically, it's not just the industry that attracts me, but also the people that are in it. It's something to show man's endeavours, something of his struggle. This is what I try to show.
He wanted to make the factory look its best and the workers look dignified and glamorous. He'd seen the devastation of wartime across Europe, and so his moral obligation was for him to make Britain look good through his pictures.
His dramatic photographs document an era of rapid change in British heavy industry.
His pictures for him were works of wonder and beauty. Morris was somebody who had very big dreams. He just wanted to be the best and do things that were magnificent, that would speak to a much bigger audience. And I think he would have been so proud and so pleased that his work is finally getting the viewing that he wanted it to have all along.
In 2014, the V&A acquired a collection in Stoke-on-Trent that captures the achievements of one of Britain's very first industrialists.
The V&A Wedgwood collection is one of the most important industrial collections in the world.
Josiah Wedgwood's vision, passion, and technical ingenuity transformed the manufacture of ceramics.
It's such an amazing brand. And when you see right from the 18th century that extraordinary innovation, I think if you love ceramics, you can't help but love something within the amazing range of what Wedgwood produced.
And deep in the collection's archive in Stoke lies a unique record of how he did it.
It's nice to see such a range, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. This is tiny.
Today, curators Catherine and Rebecca are unearthing objects that show a lesser-known side to Wedgwood's achievements, his experiments.
This is creamware, but not as we know it. In the museum, you can see these perfectly finished, perfectly painted examples of creamware, you know, grand dinner services and extraordinary vases. And you'd never think that this sort of slightly kind of pockmarked trial was an essential step on the road to that perfection.
18th century potteries were already producing cream-coloured earthenware, but Wedgwood wanted to refine it and make it affordable.
Wedgwood had what we would think of as really a kind of science lab. Each experiment is about trying to find out something different. Some of the trials were trying to get the glaze right. Some were about getting the temperature right. We have over 10,000 individual ceramic trials stored in these wooden trays. They show the thousands of experiments that it took to perfect every element of the pottery that Josiah Wedgwood was making. Here we're at experiment number 1809, so he's already done almost 2,000 experiments here. And it's just so fascinating to see how each one is just slightly different. You can sense experimenter Josiah continually pushing the boundaries of what was possible with the materials.
Once one of these experiments was deemed a success, the factory could go into full production on a new line.
I just love these ones where you can see two little mythical horses sort of melting into the background.
This looks almost like a biscuit in the oven. I'm sure that wasn't what he intended.
You get the sense of this kind of creative baker almost. He's experimenting, seeing what works, adjusting the quantities.
Neil Brownsword is a ceramic artist who wants to make Wedgwood's experiments better known.
Do you want to look at some of the trays we've got out for you, Neil?
Yeah, fantastic to see them in person again. For me, this is the nuts and bolts of Wedgwood. They demonstrate that inquiring mind, don't they? That search for the next thing.
Josiah Wedgwood wrote, "Everything gives way to experiment." This was all about where do we take it from here? How do we create new products? It was the route to actually making a more successful business.
The entrepreneur was a defining figure of the 18th century. But his own ledger testifies that his success didn't come by chance.
This is a record of Josiah's series of experiments. So he opens by saying, "This suite of experiments was begun at Fenton Hall in the parish of Stoke-on-Trent about the beginning of the year 1759. Josiah felt that the potteries industry needed this improvement and attention. He wanted to make his own mark on that industry.
The experiment would be absolutely worthless if he hadn't recorded it properly and if he hadn't been able to reproduce it again.
That all comes through, and it tells us so much more than even just the objects themselves.
He doesn't give up, and this tenacity is something that you can really see all the way through those trials.
Neil wants to put his favourite trial trays on display in a new exhibition at a nearby museum.
Here's our first one.
That's a definite, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think
This one here?
This one with the playing cards
Yes, the
could
other
be
way around.
interesting, couldn't it?
Perhaps the material was just the right thickness to create the perfect backing.
And when you look at the back, you see.
Yes. Perhaps it's careful reusing of paper, not wanting to throw anything away.
It really excites me to see the materials and to have everything pretty much on a plate, pardon the pun.
Once Neil has made his choice, Catherine and Rebecca face the daunting task of packing up over 500 individual items.
I am a little bit nervous about letting them go, but I just know we have to make sure that they are packed as safely as possible.
For these really tiny ones, do you think this is going to be too big even?
Yeah. It's really important that these pieces travel safely. They're the only ones we have. They're really not traveling far. It's literally up the road, but they have to be packed as well as if they were going to the other side of the world.
Each piece is wrapped in acid-free tissue paper.
I feel this is very fish and chip shop. Work in progress.
Yep.
I'm going to get better at this after the, what do we think, 30th?
We've got 500. Do you think Josiah would have ever imagined these being packed so carefully to be displayed somewhere?
Well, I think as Josiah Wedgwood was a pioneer in money back if the objects arrived in multiple pieces, he probably would have understood this concept very well. So what's this, 10 objects, half an hour? There's a lot of bits to this tray. I think this is going to be the last one that will fit in this box. So that's 33 down, 450 or so to go.
Back at the museum, it's bath time for the 171-year-old Muslim.
So I've got our trusty garden hose here, plumbed in to our deionised water source. This is definitely one of the most delicate objects that I've had to conserve. It is just incredibly fine. So I'm just going to put some glass weights. You don't want your object to go down the plug hole.
The fragile, grimy muslin has had its first rinse in Elizabeth Ann's custom-made bath.
The detergents we use are not the same as you would buy from the supermarket. We use pure detergents that have been tested by scientists for conservation use. I will cover it with a protective layer of net. Yarn is the very fine weave. The danger is always in the handling of an object when it's wet, so it would be really, really easy to tear this. This sponging action moves the detergent through the textile. Hopefully release the soiling. It's the balance between trying to get the dirt off the object, yet not using so much pressure that it would damage the object. So I'm going to let it soak in the bath for a while. It's such an incredible piece, this. When you're working up close, you think about who was it who made this piece.
From cotton field to loom, creating Dhaka muslin required artistry and expertise passed down through generations.
Those who were picking it had all sorts of specialized tools. They would use the jawbone of a particular fish that had very close set teeth to be able to pull and clean the seeds out of the cotton staples itself. The skill it took to spin the threads, mostly done by women and girls, was extraordinary. They're so fine, they're often compared to cobwebs. And for the men who wove them, it could only be done in conditions of high humidity, which kept the threads moist enough to prevent them from breaking. This, in fact, led to mythology that they'd been woven underwater by mermaids.
But this labour-intensive craft didn't survive commercial exploitation by Western powers.
The East India Company imported industrially spun yarns, and therefore the hand spinning industry was completely decimated, particularly in the early 19th century. This meant the expertise and the skills that were required to make pieces like ours were essentially lost. So what we're looking at here is a time capsule, as it were, of Jamdani weaving.
The muslin has spent 3 hours in the most meticulous laundrette in Britain. Curator Avalon is keen to see if there's an improvement in its condition.
How's it going?
Hello, Avalon.
Do you get a sense that stains are shifting?
It's definitely lightened a bit, but it's still got quite a kind of dark line of soiling.
It would be a little disappointing if the stains don't shift a little bit more than they currently are. I'd really like to see it looking a little bit brighter than it is at the moment.
We can only try our best, but there's no magic wand.
That said, Elizabeth Ann does have one final trick up her sleeve.
This is an ultrasonic wand. Let's hope it works. It was made specially for us. It creates tiny, tiny little bubbles, and that helps to move the soiling in the textile. It's a very stubborn textile. It's holding on to all that dirt. The problem is the wand is really small and the textile is quite large. So it will take quite a long time to go over it.
But time is against Elizabeth Ann. A group of 22 Jamdani experts are due at the museum to view the stole, and it needs to look its best.
There are a lot of expectations around this object. We will try everything possible within what the textile can stand, and we will see what the result is when it's dry.
In photography conservation,
it's such a big, heavy print that it needs quite a lot of support.
Steph has been preparing the Maurice Broomfield image for mounting.
Because the edges are so fragile, I've got these foam strips. It just gives it a little bit of a buffer in between the print and the edge of the board. It's definitely looking a little bit neater now. You can really appreciate the full image rather than seeing all the damage.
So this is the kind of heart of Morris's archive.
As part of the exhibition, curator Martin is keen to show Morris's entire creative process.
So these are boxes full of contact sheets that were Morris's first look at what the negative was like. I want to explore the whole journey to that print that you see on the wall, from a photographic negative to a small contact print, the way that the pictures were illustrated in journals, right up to enormous, beautiful exhibition prints that were shown on photographic trade stands.
To demonstrate each stage, Martin is using a photograph of the making of a large electrical generator.
Well, it looks like this woman is inside some giant clock mechanism with these cogs that are made out of wood, like wheels. Its colour, it's kind of green predominantly and white, and there's a little pop of red in it. He explained how he got to the scene and liked the look of all these cogs in the background. But I think he said there was only one or two of them, and he liked the way that they looked. So he said that he found other cogs and rolled them into the background to make it look more exciting. He really wanted this picture that you could read on one level to explain how an electric generator is made. But taken out of the context, it becomes like a goddess among planets or something. Morris elevates it to become something magical and surreal and strange.
Martin wants to show the two negatives of this image, along with the contact print Morris made as a reference.
Contact prints are small photographic images made by laying the negative onto a sheet of photographic paper, shining light at it in the darkroom, and getting a small, imperfect reference image that you could look at through a magnifying glass just to check that what's going on in the scene at small scale. They're like sketches, in a way, that lead up to the finished print.
But as working tools, the contact prints were taped to the negatives.
The sellotape is a nightmare, really, in terms of conservation, because it's discoloured, it peels, it takes bits of the image off.
Without conservator Steph's help, Martin's plans for the display could come unstuck.
You hate seeing tape because you know that there could be staining there that you can't remove. On the other hand, it's an interesting challenge to deal with.
As Steph needs to use potentially toxic solvent to remove the tape, she heads into a specially designed fume cupboard.
You have to try and get underneath, which can be quite tricky when the tape's like this and it's fully adhered and there's no areas that have started to lift. I just got to be really careful that I don't scratch the surface.
But it's not just damage to the surface Steph is worried about.
So now I'll just try them on the cross. We don't want that to move at all.
A yellow cross, it's an indication that Broomfield has selected this. Because of that, it shows an interaction with this object from the photographer, and it's really important that we keep that.
I think there is a tiny bit of yellow that's come off. I don't want to remove the cross, and I think it's more important that we keep the cross and just keep that little bit of tape on than remove the whole thing. So it's great. It's ready to be mounted up now for the exhibition.
Of course, I feel a responsibility about showing the work in its best possible light, but if that means a little bit of sellotape left, then I think we can live with that.
Today, legendary designer Barbara Hulanicki has flown in from Miami to meet fashion curator Jenny.
Hi, Barbara. Hello. Lovely to see you.
As the creator of the Bieber label, Barbara's come specially to see Jenny's new acquisition.
Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for asking me.
Oh gosh, it's a real pleasure.
Jenny has also invited along Danuta, the collection's donor, to show Barbara her find.
Long last, and this is Barbara.
Oh, Barbara, how wonderful to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh,
I feel I know you.
I tried everything and everything looked wonderful, and of course I had no money.
Yeah.
So I would have to save very, very hard to try and buy something.
Oh, do you make me feel really bad?
No,
It was
no.
probably £3 or something.
Yes, absolutely. But hey, I was at college. I had a Saturday job.
I mean, £9 a week was the salary. For typing, they would have £3 for the rent, £3 for food, and £3 in Bieber.
Absolutely.
So everything was
Yes,
£3 or £2.99.
Of course, it was pounds, shillings, and pence then, wasn't it? So it really takes you back.
Born in Poland, Barbara moved to London with her family as a child. She started out as a fashion illustrator before founding her cult fashion brand in 1963.
It was just this little experiment, so Barbara Hulaniki and her husband decided to launch a little design for a dress. I think they were deluged with replies, and it developed from there.
Do you remember anything in particular about this dress and this design?
Oh, yes. I had this perfect image of this girl, very long-waisted, long arms, so it would end up looking like Audrey Hepburn was my hero.
Yes. I would buy these things and feel you'd walk a little straighter because I'd feel elegant.
So we have something I want to show you.
This is exciting. Scary. This is very scary. Oh my God.
It's an amazing survival.
Oh my goodness.
Was going to be thrown away.
Is it dated?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
73. Oh my God. Look at the
That's
colours.
just-
Can you imagine?
Yeah.
A shop with all those colours.
Got over 120 of these individual orders.
Oh, goodness me. You see, that those were the colorways that we were using, so everything would work together. This is just one manufacturer, and we had quite a few manufacturers. These would be the style numbers, yes. And this would be...
They're just like
yeah,
bulk quantities.
yeah. We never made more than 500 of a style.
Daphne, can you sort out really the darker shades of every colour we're using?
You don't find this very often, do you?
Could we find out when they're actually printing, and then we could go up and have a...
There's a B and an H there.
That's
Would
me.
that be you?
BSH.
Yeah, BSH. Yeah.
Another thing that is worrying me, everything worries me at this moment, are all these Italian prints.
You had to be really perfect. If you weren't, they would spot you immediately.
Yes.
And it'd be...
Yeah.
I mean, it was a tough business.
Yeah.
Barbara's involvement with the Bieber brand only lasted for 12 years, and she embarked on a new career as an interior designer.
Because it ended quite soon, that's kind of kept it crystallised in everyone's memories as this sort of amazing, glamorous era.
Did you ever expect to see one of these again?
No, absolutely not. So valuable. This emotionally valuable.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Essentially, it was Barbara Hulaniki's look at the centre of it.
Has it been worth you coming all this way, Barbara, to have a
absolutely.
look at
I
this?
wouldn't have missed it for the world. I find this stirs up so many memories, really nice memories. And I think that book is really full of emotion, I tell you. It did not deserve to be in a skip.
Well, today has been really special, very exciting to meet Barbara. My life is complete.
It's a really amazing moment. You know, they really become museum objects at this point, and it's really exciting, and we will hopefully be able to put them on display fairly soon and do a big Bieber celebration, but we'll have to wait and see.
We've got quite a task ahead of us to unwrap hundreds and hundreds of these trials.
In Stoke-on-Trent, the trays of Wedgwood trials have made the 7-mile trip to the Potteries Museum and Art Gallery under the watchful eye of curator Catherine.
It is a big responsibility overseeing, the movement and loan of objects. It's always a little bit tense opening up a package and just checking that they've made it safely on their journey. There are always a few things that worry you. That's our first part. I can check off the numbers to you and you can take them off.
It's like that memory game you played with parties.
The team aren't just unpacking the 500 individual trials. To maintain the integrity of Josiah Wedgwood's trial process, they must also put them back onto the trays in the original order.
It's a mammoth task. It's a bit like a sort of paint by numbers. You know, we've got this image here that we're working to that will help us to know that we've got all the elements. So yeah, we've got 36 and 28, 2 bits of 37 here. Okay, so here's the other part. I think this might be the bit that goes inside this one. We've got a full house. So this is the first out of 8 trays, so we've still got quite a few more to go.
It's surprisingly hard to spot these sometimes.
And getting the order right is not the only complication.
There are quite a lot of old breaks from when these objects were fired. That's why we take meticulous record photographs. So we know what condition the objects left the museum in, and we know what condition they've arrived in. Here, we compare it to the image, there's no change. We know it hasn't broken on the journey.
It's a tiny, it needs a little tweak with that tool.
The exhibition's creator, Neil Brownsword, has come to put the final pieces in place.
Yes. Is that him? Is it definitely in that side?
Yeah,
yes, that side.
Josiah Wedgwood's trial and error experiments are ready to be seen by a new audience.
To actually see them and to be admired by all of the visitors it's an incredibly proud moment. They look so magnificent in this case. So beautiful. This particular tray, it's one of my favorites, and I think it just shows really well what Josiah was doing. And I just imagine Josiah looking at them and this little flinch of, nearly perfect.
These are, in a way, quite fun objects. They're quite quirky. It'd be great to think that these could inspire, budding ceramic artists of the future that might be coming to the exhibition.
I think this one's my favourite.
Fantastic that people are coming through the doors, new generations who can go away with a better sense of the kind of ingenuity and innovation which is embedded in these objects.
It's been such a long journey, really. So much work to do with all the packing, all the considerations we had, and even if it's just up the road, but it's been a great journey, and I'm so happy that they're finally here, and they look amazing. Josiah Wedgwood was the great British innovator. Without him and his tenacity, British ceramic production would not be where it is today, and we owe him a great deal for that.
It's a lovely thing, isn't it?
In the photography gallery, the Maurice Broomfield exhibition is coming into focus.
So it's just this side that's open at the moment. I'm a bit like the director, really. So I just have to make sure it looks as good as it can, and the position of everything is just right.
Oh, it's level as well. Amazing. I think he chose the most glamorous ladies in the factory because they all look like film stars to me.
A key feature for Martin is to display Broomfield's contact sheet in a way that will allow visitors to understand his creative process.
It's complicated, having known the person who made the pictures quite well, and I feel a responsibility about showing the work in its best possible light.
It's important that they're all facing the same way.
Yes, so they line up and they're in the right order. You hopefully make the connection between the colour negative on the top. We'll be able to turn around, just do that and make that connection, the finished picture on the wall. Yeah. You dream it and you wake up with an idea. This one. There we go, that's it.
Yeah, that is good.
Right up to the last minute, of course, I'm trying to refine it and get it as good as it can be.
Are you happy with this, though?
Yeah, I think that looks great. Good.
Tell me about the picture, Martin.
All right.
What's it about?
I just like the idea that it looks like you could be going to buy Halo, like in a Halo shop. Yeah, so he's trying one on for size, I think. It glows in the way that I wanted it to, and it feels like light is coming out of the picture.
2, 3.
And I hope that visitors get that sort of sense of something special, something more than what meets the eye. Great, level and lovely.
One of the first visitors will be Maurice's son, Nick.
I want Nick to be happy with this. You know, it's his dad, it's his father's work, it's his father's legacy. Great, it's glowing as it should. If Nick's happy with it, that will be the icing on the cake.
Two floors down, curator Avalon is inspecting the freshly laundered Jamdani. It needs to be clean enough to go on display.
This is just stunning. Phew. You've washed away 170 years worth of dirt. This is amazing. Wow, look at that. So much better. It actually looks white. It looks white again. Oh. Elizabeth Ann has done a stupendous job. It's looking incredible, for sure.
Yeah. That's a relief.
The stole is ready for its first visitors since the Great Exhibition of 1851.
So I'm very excited.
I am too, yeah. This is going to be the ultimate test for this piece because these ladies know their Jamdanis.
The Muslin Trust works to promote and to preserve historic Bangladeshi textiles.
Here in the UK, Jamdani saris are particularly important for the Bangladeshi community. They're very much part of their cultural identity, and it's something that is linked to a heritage that they want to preserve.
Once only the attire of the aristocracy, Jamdani saris are now widely worn at special occasions.
Come on in.
So much to see. This is beautiful.
How they make this beautiful art, and it's purely magic.
Looks really lovely. You can see the intricacy of the thing, little flowers. Each one is individually made, and I think of the people who have made them, so I feel special in a way. Things which are made by human beings' own hand, I think it has a special value.
Here we have a historic example that's been in our collection since 1851. This is one of the founding pillars of the museum.
Like many Bangladeshi women, Johanna's mother spent hours embroidering patterns similar to these.
This pattern, because my mom did that. Sorry.
We're helping people keep a craft alive, and that's what we're here for.
I never seen it before. Today I had the chance to see it, and I'm really pleased.
In the photography gallery, Martin's Maurice Broomfield exhibition is finally ready.
Doing this exhibition has been on my mind for 15 years, and I'm proud of it. I want Maurice to smile down and say, you know, well done, I'm pleased.
Martin has invited Maurice's son Nick for a special sneak preview.
Maurice always wanted to have a big exhibition, and I'm sort of sorry, obviously, he's not here, and I actually wore his old jacket to sort of bring the spirit of Maurice. Martin and my father had a great relationship, so it'll be very interesting to see what Martin has really come up with. Hi.
Hello.
What an incredible place. And a whole gallery, too.
Yeah. Hello. Nice to see you.
Yeah, wow, incredible. Such a beautiful room to see his work in. I think he'd be so proud to see it here. There he is.
It's nice to see him there, really in the factory.
And he always liked to put himself in danger, so he's always at the top of a ladder.
Yeah.
In some precarious position.
Yeah.
You know, he sort of broke his ankles a couple of times.
Did he?
Oh, yeah. There was a magnificent floor, and he had everyone put a bit of water in it so he could get that bounce. And he was on a ladder, and he just sort of jumped off the ladder, and of course, you know, flew across the floor and broke an ankle. Yeah. I think he had the capacity of getting very carried away.
Yeah.
With his creativity.
Yeah, I guess he was just trying to get the picture that he could see in his mind and then through the camera and then whatever it took to get there.
That's exactly it.
How do you feel seeing them in a museum display case?
They're given a certain prominent respect that I guess they haven't had at the mill.
It was nice to include his camera bag because you feel like it's, he might have just put it down there.
Did you give it a good clean first?
Bit of a dust. Yeah. Thank you for lending us those because they just add a personal connection.
Yeah. So when were these prints done?
Late 50s, early 60s. Really? Yeah. Like this one that we've been working on of the fluorescent tubes.
Oh, yeah.
Our conservator, Steph, did quite a lot of work behind the scenes. We tried to keep, you know, some of the look of an antique print.
How incredible. Oh, what love.
But the quality is amazing.
Well, it's held up really well, though.
So what do you think of this? Are you pleased with the scale of it? I
really am. He'd be so delighted. He always wanted to see his work big. These are kind of works of art. And he was striving to create drama out of industry.
Do you think he ever felt conflicted about showing, you know, every factory in its best possible light?
I think so. You know, you're glorifying something that smells awful and is terrible for your health. But I think he saw these people, they deserve to be honored and valued. I think to have your work displayed in such a magnificent place alongside so many other beautiful things is an enormous honor. And I think I could feel, you know, my father's emotion just getting that kind of recognition. I think Martin's done an amazing job. I love it.
Next time, conservators fear a Renaissance masterpiece is going to pieces.
We have a horizontal crack running around the center. That is a major concern.
An award-winning costume designer is reunited with his majestic creation.
Oh my God, it's lovely to see her again. I'm quite moved by it, actually.
And a contemporary artist is making a big noise at V&A Dundee.
I want chaos here. I want every kid to come here and just...
How many stories can a single artefact tell us about history? Trace the life of some amazing objects that span cultures and generations by going to bbc.co.uk/secrets of the museum and follow the links to the Open University.